Good evening, you are watching Bent TV. I am Andy McNamara and tonight I am speaking to Brenda Appleton. Welcome, Brenda.
Thanks, Andy.
We are chatting about the LGBTI Task Force that you are one of the starring members of. Tell us about the work that's going on, please.
Righto. I'm the co-chair of the task force, and
fantastic.
I co-chair the task force with Minister for Equality, Martin Foley.
Wow.
The task force has been set up to help the government work through the commitments it made ahead of the election when it got elected a year ago, and to also provide advice on new initiatives that the government might announce, and I guess review those from an LGBTI perspective.
Right.
We also get asked from time to time by Minister for Equality, Martin Foley, for us to investigate particular areas the government might want to know more about from an LGBTI point of view.
So you're largely advisory with that?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we're not a decision making, we don't have a budget, but we do, we're in a position to provide advice to the government. Another area that we get involved with, we've got the two working groups and the education reference group as well, and those groups are working on a lot of items that have been provided from the community. Some of them are brought forward from the previous Ministerial Advisory Committee, and we will be working through with various departments to finalise the work within those, and then providing recommendations to the government in terms of how they might go about addressing areas of concern from an LGBTI perspective.
Right.
We also will be consulting with the community from time to time.
Right.
So for instance, last month in Melbourne, we had a consultation which involved about 60 people from the LGBTI community, and it was a very powerful day, I thought, in terms of the wide range of topics that were discussed.
And I was there obviously, and the wide range of groups there. So a whole lot of LGBTI community groups all got together and put their heads together.
And as a collective, the participants agreed that the task force could take the output from the day and use that to inform the work that we're getting done through the working groups and so on. Individual working groups will from time to time be running consultations with LGBTI community. And one of the things that we're working on at the moment is to provide advice to the government on birth certificates.
Yes.
So we're actually consulting quite widely with the trans and gender diverse and intersex communities at the moment.
Right. It is fantastic for the government to set up your task force in the first place, an LGBTI task force. It obviously shows some intention to do the right thing about for the queer and gender diverse community. Yeah,
I think the government's made a huge commitment to LGBTI. I think the appointment of Ro Allen as the Commissioner for Gender and Sexuality, the setting up of a separate Department of Equality within the Department of Premier and Cabinet, the appointment of a whole of government task force, I think these are tangible steps by the government to reduce discrimination and to as the government has said on several occasions, equality is not negotiable.
Wow.
We need to be able to remove discrimination from our services, from our laws, and eventually from society.
Wow. And do you feel that society is right behind the government in this thinking and approach?
Slowly. I think we're getting progressive improvement. I think our community numbers are growing because more people are comfortable to be themselves. But I know with all the aged care training which we've done with the aged care sector over the last couple of years, a lot of LGBTI people still aren't comfortable to disclose that they are LGBTI when accessing aged care services. So things are improving, and I'm hopeful under this current government that we'll get a lot more improvement.
Wow. I've got a friend who works for one of the big banks, and internally the bank is saying 8 to 9% of the staff are LGBTI, and to admit that anywhere probably 20 years ago wouldn't have happened, and it's just a sign that they're trying to be seen like that, and maybe there's money to be made by being this way, who knows? But they're retaining staff better, and staff are feeling supported. It's a moving thing, I guess.
Oh, very much so. And we see it in the numbers of young trans and gender diverse people coming through Royal Children's Hospital. 10, 12 years ago, they were getting 1 referral a year. They're now getting more than 5 a week.
Wow.
So there is a big change in how society is responding to people. Many estimates say that LGBTI could be as much as 15%. So that
wow.
It's a considerable percentage of our population.
Wow. Can I give you another example? My brother is on the board of a Christian school, and it's quite a Christian school in a very remote part of Queensland, and they built a new wing recently, and their architects came to them and said, but you need to have a non-gendered toilet as part of the new block. And they're like, oh, why do we need that? And they said, well, you might have some trans kids at your school. And they went, oh, okay. And so they went with it, and they're quite proud of it now. And it was such a leap for quite a conservative school to do.
It's fantastic. We're getting an increasing number of inquiries from organisations wondering how they can be more inclusive for LGBTI. And I guess that brings up another area which has changed a lot. Within the trans and gender diverse community, we've got a significant proportion, maybe about 30 to 35%, identifying as non-binary. So from a...
Can you explain that to us?
These are people who neither identify as male or female.
Right.
So we're a very binary world,
Society.
Male or female.
Yes.
And a lot of trans and gender diverse people don't fit into either category. So they are preferring to say, we're neither male nor female, and so they don't want to transition from one to t'other. They're somewhere in between, and they want to stay there. And it is so empowering for those people to be able to be themselves in this current community.
Yes.
And we need toilets to more accurately reflect their personality and their selves.
The whole discussion of non-binary hasn't even happened in the general public. That's got to come.
It's got to come. Government's struggling with it, so we've got to work it through there. We need it to be allowed for in our birth certificates, which it's not at the moment.
Yep.
So that's part of what we're working on at the moment as well.
Brenda, keep up the good work. It sounds fantastic. Please come back again and tell us more about the LGBTI Task Force. You've been watching Bent TV. We'll see you another time.
Thank you.